Well, hey, you guys, Happy New Year. I don't think I've talked to you since we've rang in the new year. It's been it's been a year. Just want to say hi. Hope your year has taken off to a great start. It has taken off to a start, I'll tell you that much. But it was a good break, good time off. I kind of feel like I'm I'm moving in slow motion still. When you have all the kids home and you're staying up like insanely late because they love to stay up late, and then you're sleeping in super late, everything just is kind of like, I don't know, hazy still. So I need to snap out of it. I need to get to it. But I have been watching all of the events going on. We're going to go through some of them. I am considering doing some kind of like a recap the week tomorrow. We'll see if I get time to fit it in. There's a lot going on that I've got to get done tomorrow. Just mom stuff and errand stuff and New Year stuff. But if I can, I will. So you won't have to listen to it because I'll pretty much cover it now for you. Uh, but how are you guys? Good? Everybody good? Did you guys have a good New Year? Did you have a good Christmas break? If you had a break at all, my husband really didn't take a break. He worked pretty much through it. He did take Christmas Day and Christmas Eve off, but he pretty much was working. So a lot of people just continued on. But I guess the first thing we have to address to talk about is what happened yesterday in Minneapolis. A young woman, 37 years old, Renee Nicole Good, was shot and killed by an ICE officer. Now, I know this is a touchy subject. A lot of people are, I've gotten so many different takes on this, including people from my own family. So I was on a group chat this morning with them, and some did not see it the way I saw it, and that's understandable. Everybody has their own take on it, their own opinion. Basically, what happened was this woman drove her car out into an ICE raid that was taking place and was trying to obstruct it. She was told to get out of the vehicle. She didn't get out of the vehicle. An officer stepped in front of her car. He told her to get out. She was asked several times to get out of the car. And I have seen a video where she was actually like, her tires were kind of like revving on ice. And eventually kind of broke free, was able to move forward, and was shot by an ICE agent. It's terrible. It's a tragedy. Shouldn't have happened. Senseless. But my take on this is obey the law. Obey the law. If you obey the law, your chances of getting shot by a police officer or any officer of the law, if you're obeying the law, are slim to none. It's terrible. This woman had 3 children that now don't have a mom because she felt the need to go defend illegal Somali immigrants that have come here illegally or that are up to no good. We're going to talk about this Somali scandal that's taking place in Minneapolis. And what is with Minneapolis? We got the George Floyd riots that happened there. You've got this Somali whole fraud scandal. You've got this incident that just happened now. I was actually thinking about it. I was on the phone with one of my sisters and my mom, and I was thinking, like, from a spiritual perspective, because I do fully believe the Bible. I believe its word is true, and the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of wickedness in the heavenly realms. And I think, what kind of principality is over Minneapolis? It's dark. It's dark. It's satanic. And there's a lot of civil unrest in that region. And I can't imagine what's going on in the spiritual realm. I can't even begin to fathom it. And it brought me to thinking of Daniel. Remember when Daniel had prayed and asked God, for made some requests to God, and Michael, the archangel Michael, who actually is the archangel over Israel. Well, people can't stand when I say that, but it's the truth. He's actually assigned over Israel. That is his region. The archangel Michael. Okay. Um, and he comes and he said, "Hey, I heard your prayer to Daniel, but I was delayed." He was fighting the principality over Persia. And so there is a ton of spiritual battling taking place that we're not aware of. And I know that when we pray, we activate that spiritual realm. We activate the spiritual realm. We have authority over the spiritual realm. Jesus says this: all authority has been given unto us. He gave it to the disciples. Therefore, we are now disciples. We have been given the authority to combat this stuff in the spiritual realm. But I just can't imagine. I mean, if you were to see into the spiritual realm over Minneapolis, I'm sure it'd be jaw dropping. Anyways, it's just something I thought about this morning. But anyways, so she's killed, and now we have there's civil unrest, there's protests taking place. I just read this morning that they've sent in like backup. I want to show you guys this. They have sent in backup into Minneapolis. The Border Patrol commander, Greg Bondino, has deployed a lot of troops into into that region. So good, because we don't need that. Like, we don't need this to blow up into a huge George Floyd moment. The thing is, it's really cold there. So it's not May, it's not nice weather, it's cold weather. So it depends, we'll see if this thing continues to grow and get more. But I think a strong law and order presence is important right now. I think the Democrats are so hungry for something to snap in their favor, to go in their favor. But as I was thinking about this, this woman, a white liberal woman, if I had to guess, she probably was educated by very far leftist teachers. If she went to college, leftist professors. I know I've told you guys this before. I remember being at my university. I graduated. Well, I kind of went all over, and then I ended up graduating from Colorado State University. And I remember sitting in some of those classes there, and I think I remember specifically one class. I think it was me and like one other person were white, and I remember being told that it is white people that have caused so much of the issues and so many of the problems that we face today in America. And had I not been raised in a very strong faith, Christian faith, and had I not been raised by parents that challenged what the world was saying all the time and would play devil's advocate, they'd act like these people and get you to debate and argue and think outside the box. Had I not had that upbringing, I can see how someone would sit there and think, oh my goodness, it's my fault. Everything is my fault. And you really do receive this white guilt, and it becomes part of your very nature. And you feel the desire to kind of like pay a penance for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you feel obligated because of your whiteness to go out and defend everyone that's not white, and to push back. And my take and my guess would be that this is something this woman felt the need to do. The fact that she left her 3 children and went and defended and felt the need to protest against Somalis that are frauding our government, that are being raided, and she felt the need to put her life on the line for that, just says how far we've fallen as a civilization and how much our educational system has indoctrinated so many women. And it's funny, when this happened yesterday, not necessarily funny, but when this happened, and before the news of who this person was, all it was 37-year-old woman. But I immediately thought, I guarantee you it's a white liberal woman. I didn't think it was an immigrant or an illegal immigrant. I didn't think it was anything like that. I thought that. And the fact that that's what happened, it's just like, wow, like that's so sad that that's where we're at. And that so many women think this way. I mean, I know women that think this way. Personally know women that think this way. Saw another video today of another woman saying that she was driving around and trying to stop ICE raids in, I think somewhere in the South, like it was in the Carolinas, I think it was. And I'm like, what? Like, what is this? And I would come back to it. I really do believe it's our educational system that's brainwashed a lot of these women into thinking that they're the white savior that's going to come in and stop this, and they feel extreme guilt for the color of their skin and the need to stop it and the need to rescue um and taking the side of the criminals over the law basically. We'll see what happens with this. I clearly have watched multiple videos on the angle of the car, the officer, the shot. If you just think logistically here, he would not have been able to shoot directly into the front windshield had he not been in front of the car. So she was clearly moving forward. But I've got a lot of people that disagree with me, including my own family members. They think that ICE is out of control, that ICE is abusing their power. My take on this is don't disobey the law. I know it sounds harsh and it sounds kind of callous, but don't go in and obstruct an official law arrest taking place. Like, don't do that. Do you think that if you're going to go in and obstruct an arrest from taking place and hit an officer of the law with your car, that you're not going to get shot? I mean, the probability of getting shot is pretty high if you put yourself in that situation. And at the same time, did the officer, should he have moved? Did he have to shoot? That's up for the courts to decide. But I feel like it's unfortunate that he was placed in this situation. And when you think about it, like, he most likely felt in danger. And then I saw this morning that this guy, this same officer, had actually priorly, I think, been hit with a car or something like that, had another incident with an arrest with a car. So watch this really quick. I want to show you guys this clip.
This home security video shows the driver taking off during a traffic stop, dragging a deportation officer with him. New at 10, WCCO's Uba Ali walks us through this video and the political firestorm behind it.
What began as a planned federal immigration arrest took a violent turn in this quiet Bloomington neighborhood. And it was all caught on camera. According to a federal complaint, agents were executing a warrant for 39-year-old Roberto Carlos Munoz. They say Munoz entered the country unlawfully, and he also pled guilty to fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct back in 2023 for abusing a minor. Tuesday morning, agents pulled him over. Court documents say he repeatedly refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window. These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards. These graphic images show the aftermath. A bloody agent who needed 33 stitches for his significant cuts. And now a political battle with a top Homeland Security official criticizing Governor Tim Walz, posting on X, instead of comparing ICE law enforcement to the Gestapo, Walz should be thanking our brave law enforcement. The Department of Justice says a request for Munoz to be held after that 2022 arrest was, quote, not honored by local authorities, and Munoz was released.
So it's
arrest in the Twin Cities is leading to even more charges.
This home security video shows the driver taking off during.
So it's being said that this same officer is the officer in this video that was in front of the car. Now, I got to confirm that because I read that on X, but I want to make sure that that's completely accurate. So I'll let you guys know when I end up posting this video for you all. But if that's true, I mean, my goodness. And I also read this. Where's my information I had? I read this, guys, that it's been, hold on just a second. It's been, hold on. What did I say here? There have been more than 100 vehicular ramming incidents targeting ICE and CPB agents in the last year, more than 100. So obviously, if you're an agent and you're thinking, I'm in front of this car, 100 people in the last year have been hit or hurt or injured or killed by a vehicle, I would think that he did think his life was in danger. Now, I could be wrong, but that's my take. Also, we're not robots. If I was to place myself in this situation, I have no idea how I would respond to this. I have no idea. I know that, and I don't know. I don't know. So that's what I know. I know I don't know what I would do exactly in that situation. And so, you know, if you break the law, I think that it's kind of crazy to think like now that you've broken the law that other people around you are going to exactly abide by the law after you break it. Like it's kind of like you put everything in jeopardy when that happens and decisions are made whether they're correct or not. In that moment, you're putting your life on the line, and this woman did that, and it's unfortunate. It's sad. There's now children that don't have a mom, but I don't think my take is don't get in the way of an arrest. So we'll see how this unfolds, and hopefully it dwindles down instead of amps up. Really quick. Oh my gosh, this is just a minute with Mom, and I'm already at 16 minutes in. So I'll try to rush this a little bit. But it's just been so long, you guys. Somali, this broke while we were kind of taking a break. Basically, Somali fraud. Nick Shirley, an independent journalist, young kid on YouTube, breaking stories, going basically to these adult care facilities, child care facilities, health care facilities, and asking like, where are the patients, where are the children, where are the adults that are supposed to be taken care of? And they're all empty. Basically exposing that these are just money laundering facilities for fraud. And where did all the money go is the question. Where is all that money? We're talking billions of dollars here wasted. Since that has been said, you've got Tim Waltz basically saying that he's not going to run again for re-election, which totally makes him look guilty or at least complicit in this entire thing. You've got Elon Omar, who, this is crazy to me. She I guess I was 45,000. You can fact check me on this, but I believe she was $45,000 in debt when she went into office, and now she's worth, I think, over $30 million. Let's look it up. Omar's something absurd. Like it's what? I'm sorry. Her net worth will increase from 6 million to 30 million in 2025. But I believe when she entered office, let's see if we can find that. How much when she entered office? I believe it was. Okay, so it wasn't 45,000. She was her net worth, okay, was $250,000. You guys, like total net worth. So that's crazy. That's just crazy. I'm gonna have to. My husband's calling me. I'll have to message him, tell him I'm doing that. Wow, we're just all flustered right now. Okay, anyways, so that broke. Then you've got Maduro being arrested, which is just insane to me. Here's a capture of that. Not insane, but hey, I'm for it. And people, wanted to know my take on this. The guy was starving his people. He was a dictator, a tyrant, not duly elected, and was, given a bump to the Chinese and oil. And this is my take, okay? Either it was the Chinese and Russia or us. And I'd rather have us running this thing. So that's what happened there. A lot of people are talking about the Monroe Doctrine. And so I had to look into this because it's like, why are we now in Venezuela? Why are we trying to take Greenland? Like, what is this really about? And so Trump is all in on the Monroe Doctrine. And the Monroe Doctrine was actually by James Monroe in 1823. He basically declared that the Western Hemisphere was off limits from further European expansion and colonization and intervention. In return, the United States would pledge to avoid interference in European affairs. Well, this is pretty much now extended to the world. Like, you're not going to come up into our Western Hemisphere and try to dominate other countries or take them over. And you were seeing that with the Chinese. The Chinese were actually met with Maduro the day before he was captured. I believe it's the day before. Or if not, the day before. So within 48 hours, Maduro, after meeting with the Chinese, Maduro has been captured and taken to New York and charges filed. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's not about the drugs. Well, they were poisoning Americans. They were using taking fentanyl and cocaine and all the other junk, and they were bringing it up through Venezuela, up through the Americas into our country and killing our kids. Okay, but it does come down to it does have a lot to do with oil. It does have a lot to do with energy dominance. It does have a lot to do with not letting our adversaries come into our hemisphere and encroach. And you've got this huge sect of the interventionalists and non-interventionalists having this argument because, like you got the Thomas Massey's saying, no, we shouldn't be involved in anything. Well, listen, this is where I disagree with a lot of this stuff, because an America-only approach allows you to bury your head in the sand until your enemy is on your soil. America First approach says, okay, what is in America's best interest? Is it in America's best interest to have the Chinese taking over Venezuela? Like, is that in America's best interest? No, it's not. It's not in America's best interest to have the Chinese taking the oil, taking advantage of Venezuela, the people, all of that. It's not in America's best interest. And basically, Maduro was pimping out Venezuela. That's what he was doing. So he's removed. Now you do have to get someone that's gonna work with us, work with the U.S. in play in Venezuela. Now, eventually, I would like to see. I would like to see a democratic election take place where the people decide who they want, and we really make sure that it's fairly and rightfully run, and a fair election, right? That's how it should. But right now, you have to have some kind of interim person. So that's in America's best interest, to make sure that the Chinese or the Russians or Cuba doesn't get in there. Okay, so the America First approach is always to ask, well, what's in America's best interest here? And that was the move to make, and that's what Trump did. Now, you've got a lot of black pillars. You've got a lot of Tucker Carlsons. Now Megyn Kelly's joining up with Tucker Carlson, along with all the other black pillars that, anything Trump does, they hate. But I believe that this was in America's best interest. It was the right move to make. And I'm thankful for it, to be honest with you. I don't want slowly, Hamas teaming up with Russia and the Chinese and Iran and all those players suddenly coming up into our hemisphere. I just don't. So this was the right move to make. That's my take on it. And that's why we're looking at Greenland, because there's a lot of military advantage there. It keeps that whole region, that northern region, locked down, that hemisphere locked down from any kind of foreign adversaries. So I understand that. Now, do I want us to just go in and use force on Greenland? No, I don't. I would love us to purchase it like we purchased the Louisiana purchase, right? Like, that would be the way to do it. I know that Denmark is kind of not cooperating right now, but hopefully Trump is a great negotiator, and we see some negotiations take place. That is in America's best interest, to have that region totally covered. And so we'll see what happens there. That's also in play. Trump reduced vaccines from 72 to 11 for children now. That's huge. The food pyramid, let me take a picture of this. has been flipped. Basically, it was upside down since its inception, but now we've turned it around and it's in its rightful place. So hopefully this shows people how to eat healthy, right? You should have a high protein diet. There's nothing wrong with healthy fats. So let me no, I got my husband saying is everything okay. Hold on. Of course, when I do this, no, just doing a video for supporters. Okay. So that happened. What else? Oh, Iran. Iran is huge, and we'll end with that. And maybe tomorrow I can expand on some of this stuff if I decide to do a live. This one was totally scattered, so I need to like put everything on airplane so nobody interrupts my calls. I'm not my calls, my videos. But you can see I'm slowly entering this here, you guys. I'm just a little behind on it. Okay, so just bear with me. But something incredible is happening in Iran right now. Since the 1970s, they have been under a serious Islamic regime that has totally pushed radical Islamic agenda on them. The women have to wear head coverings. They went from pretty much very much like the US under a king rulership there. I think it was the Shah, to being completely robbed of their rights of any kind and under just total, I would say, tyranny. And because of that, Iran has been a hotbed and probably the head of the snake for terrorism, radical Islamic terrorism across the world, across the globe. And the people there are rising up. They're saying no more. We might actually see history take place. It looks like it is taking place. We've got thousands upon thousands, if not millions, in the streets rising up against their government. Here's them. This is in Tehran right now, I believe, about an hour ago. You've got police now joining with people. It's amazing. It's amazing to see this take place. And it is very significant. And the reason why I say it's significant is because you might actually see peace. You might actually see peace in that region, which hasn't been that way it hasn't been that way for thousands of years, and it will never officially completely go to full peace until Jesus returns. But from a biblical perspective and from a biblical prophecy perspective, this is extremely significant because it could lead to peace in that region. And there is significant peace in that region before the Ezekiel 38 war takes place when you study biblical prophecy, which has totally got my attention. And I want to read a passage to you about this really quick, and then we'll wrap it up. But basically it says, and this is Ezekiel 38, and you read about it, verse 10, thus saith the Lord, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into mind, and thou shalt think as evil thought. So he's talking about Gog, which is modern day Russia, having an evil thought. Okay. And it's also spoken of, like prior to this, it says, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. So this is talking about latter days, end times. This has not taken place. You have not seen Russia get involved really in any of the Middle Eastern conflicts at all. They're secretly funding this stuff, but they haven't fought a war. So this historically has not yet happened. So this is unfulfilled biblical prophecy, basically. So in the latter years, thou shalt come into a land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which has always been waste. So this is kind of like in reference to the Palestinian area. But it is brought forth out of the nation, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So now they're living in safety, these people. Time shall ascend and come like a storm, and thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all the bands and many people with thee. So you're going to form a group and you're going to go after, basically, you're going to join with others. I believe it's Persia, Ethiopia, Libya is mentioned. Persia is Iran now. But eventually they're going to rise up, join with Russia. And thus saith the Lord God, it shall also come to pass that at that same time shall thou come into mind, and thou shalt think of an evil thought. So this, the evil thought is to let's attack Israel. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. So at this time, and Israel's not living with unwalled villages. Like, that's not taking place right now. And so what would cause Israel to be like, okay, phew, we don't have to worry anymore. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's fine. What would cause them to think that way? Well, you would see the reconstruction of Gaza take place. You would see peace in that area, maybe some nice Trump towers over there. You would see a calming take place. You would see Iran go quiet, possibly a toppling of their regime. The people take it back over. There's peace there. All of this is happening. And Israel says, okay, we don't have to be on high alert right now. We can just take a deep breath. They're living with unwalled villages. They're in a sigh of relief. Okay. But we're not there right now. Obviously, we've got all sorts of stuff taking place in the Middle East right now. But if you see Iran fall, okay, and you see a democratic election take place and the people regain that power, Gaza gets restored there, everything kind of goes into a great, wonderful moment, right? Okay. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. So basically, all of this takes place, and then you see them attacked. Okay, later on, if you keep reading, a mighty army goes in and they attack, and they try to harm Israel, and then actually God himself, Jesus, God sends forth it says basically like a storm. He rains upon them, basically hailstorms, fire, brimstorms, I mean, God could do it in whatever way he wants to do it. There could be giant hailstorms, something like that causes this huge war to cease and save Israel. This hasn't happened. Okay. But when you just read this and you got to think, okay, well, what would cause Israel to just feel like they're in a good place? Because they haven't been in a good place since 1948, really. I mean, they've been constantly on high alert, constantly defending themselves, constantly being attacked. But I believe if you see the head of the snake, you see Iran fall, you're going to see a huge reprieve take place, a moment of peace, a moment of calm. Before things get interesting again. So we could be heading into that. I'm not saying we are, I'm not saying we aren't, but this is something to definitely take a look at and to think as we're watching kind of world events unfold. Also, the Monroe Doctrine, what I wanted to mention there, that you see that Western Hemisphere form, right? Well, then you have the Western Hemisphere, then you have the Eastern Hemisphere, and you start to really see a unification of that take place. That would make it a lot easier for a one world unification take place when the Antichrist steps on the scene, right? Like, it's kind of like you're starting to see the pieces. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just watching this. I'm excited to be alive right now. I'm excited to kind of see some of this stuff, I believe, start to unfold or actually be set up. Now, how long? We don't know. We don't know. But we're starting to see some of the table being set, and that's fascinating to me, and I love it. And we're not to fear, because God has it all. I mean, honestly, he's sovereign. He said it will be, it will be. And that's something that I was talking to my one of my sisters earlier today, because I'm in the Gospels, and I'm rereading all that stuff and reading, Jesus talking. And what's so significant, having since now dove into biblical prophecy more than I have ever in my life, is that when you're reading Jesus, just Jesus, he's constantly saying, I've got to say this, I've got to do this to fulfill the prophets. I'm saying this, I'm doing this to fulfill the prophets. This is being done to fulfill the prophets. This is happening to fulfill the prophets. It's constantly happening. It's constantly in play. And now you're seeing some of the stuff that the prophets have said being fulfilled, and Jesus said it has to be fulfilled. Like what the prophet said will be fulfilled. He's doing what he did to fulfill the prophets, but there's still unfulfilled prophecy taking place. And right here, Ezekiel 38, that's unfulfilled. That has to be fulfilled. It has to be fulfilled. God's word is true. He can't lie. Just like Jesus had to fulfill it, God will fulfill his word. It will happen. Now, when it happens, we'll see, but it's fascinating to watch. So, oh my goodness, that was such a long minute with Mama. And I don't even know if you'll probably even get through or watch any of this. And I apologize for the interruptions and my scattered mind in this take on everything. But that's it for now. I appreciate you all. I'm thankful for you all. Would love any of your suggestions that you'd like to see for the new year. Any thoughts? I know the satire is still popular. I'm trying to do a lot more just posting on especially Facebook. That's where I feel like I get more interaction. But yeah, let me know your thoughts if you watch all this. God bless you all. I'm thankful for you guys. I really am. And I hope you all have a wonderful and happy and blessed new year. God is seated on the throne. He's sovereign. He sees it all. It's written. It's already done. Jesus said it's finished. It's finished. So we can rest in that. Regardless of what we see happening in the world, it all works together for the good, for those that love God and are called according to his purpose. And we are called. So God bless you all, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.